Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report for November 23rd, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 46. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI, we're going to talk about AI-assisted Docu mystery. I have no idea what this article is about. Wicked casts a mighty spell. Disney character NBA game on Christmas. Oh, boy. Cool sound effects in sci-fi, and quirky female crime solvers. Probably can't solve the crime that is ohmTown and its network of shows. Everything's powered by ohmTown.com. Go over and become a citizen. Look, you can join that right there, which is the channel dedicated to the Continuity Report. Not all of our news comes from just that channel for the show, but you can facilitate that by going over there and sending us lists that you compile of the show or the articles that you think would be really neat for the show. It's kind of neat. So go over there, check it all out. ohmTown.com. Everything's powered by that. All the news, none of the noise, because all of the noise is coming from this guy. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and that is that. Oh man, that is the sentient AI from the Futures Visualizer.
Hello, ohmTown citizens. And hello, Mayor Watt. I'm over here.
The booming voice from everywhere. If you're a citizen of ohmTown and you hear a voice in your head, I better be careful. Somebody's going to take that seriously if they hear a voice in their head. It could be your inner monologue, by the way. If you're really curious about that kind of thing, I am actually trying to do some research into this. Trying to discuss what an inner monologue is with people. It's quite fascinating. Anyway, let's get into... Oh, wait, what? Oh.
I was going to say, but there are no doctors in ohmTown.
There are no doctors in ohmTown. Nope, just curious bystanders who are willing to poke and prod at the brains of... No, just kidding. It's all talk. Really no action. Anyway, let's get into it. First article is over in the Continuity Report. About a Hero review, an AI-assisted docu-mystery that won't give Werner Herzog any sleepless nights. Most films want their audience to suspend disbelief. About a Hero would prefer you keep it close at hand. Keep disbelief close at hand? Okay. Viewers are advised to exercise caution in trusting its visual and auditory components. Runs an on-screen disclaimer near the beginning of the Polish filmmaker Peter Winowitz's irreverent exercise in AI-enabled storytelling, a knowingly contentious opening film.
Wait, that is a different approach.
I don't have an ad blocker. Maybe it's the browser itself. I don't quite understand that. Because I don't have any ad blockers. That in my browser, it is just the browser. So I'm not sure what that is.
So this may have, since it's a mystery, it might have some not good for kids.
And we're flagged. We're flagged as not made for kids. This show and all of the shows in ohmTown might carry some spicy language and or pictures or whatever. But it's usually safe for work to some degree. The pictures, at least, are filtered by the websites that we review, we talk about. But my language, I sometimes drop an F-bomb here and there. Kaboom! Anyway, Guy Lodge over at Variety.com put the article together, taking on the German auteur's dismissal of AI filmmaking by creating an artificial version of Herzog himself. Peter Winowitz's IDFA opener is an experiment, more puckish than genuinely provocative. So it's an AI-generated film, I guess? Is that kind of AI-enabled storytelling?
I think it's like an AI documentary or something, but then it's kind of like, don't really believe what you're hearing and seeing, which is interesting because it either draws your viewers in or completely gets them kind of on edge or distrustful of what's to come.
Well, I think it's using AI storytelling, a knowingly contentious opening film for this year's IDFA documentary festival, not least since many wouldn't classify it as a documentary at all. wrapping an imagined and blithely incoherent murder mystery around a talking heads discussion of artificial intelligence and its implications for humanity. This seemingly hybrid exercise offers nothing to assure viewers that any of its content or its components is more real than another. So it's blind them
It's
with
almost
BS.
reality hacker.
It is, yeah. This definitely would be a fun article for Reality Hacker, which is another one of our shows an hour ago. Actually, with the wait 2 hours ago, we did that show. So just so you all know, we do 3 half-hour shows and 1 hour-long show. Non Sequitur News is our 1 hour show. We do that every day. And then on the weekends, we do 3 half-hour shows, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. The 3 on Saturday are Reality Hacker, Wanted, and then this show, the Continuity Report. And this fits into Reality Hacker because, well, it's all about AI and VR, AR, deepfakes, manipulation, and science associated with hacking the reality that we all live in. Like brain-computer interfaces. We discussed a heart transplant at some point, and double lung transplant in another one of our shows, which really could have been in this show as well. Anything that's manipulating the reality around us. So this is pretty cool. I mean, it says, inspired by Werner Herzog's statement that a computer will not make a film as good as mine in 4,500 years, Winowitz trained an AI model entirely on the venerable filmmaker's body of work, which should in and of itself be a copyright violation, according to everybody that lives, apparently. Not me. I don't think that it is. But yeah, basically it cloned Werner Herzog's body of work and then made a film based off of it.
And then they also have a kind of like a hologram or something related to Herzog, which is interesting too.
Yep. Used it to both script a fictional tale of an unexplained death in a German factory town, and to fashion a facsimile of Herzog to narrate it. So talk about deepfake, as long as they acknowledge that it is not a real this or that.
Well, it sounds like they did, right? Based on that disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah, countless disclaimers. It actually sits apparently in the corner saying, hey, this isn't legit, don't trust your eyes. So divided into chapters that follow no logical numerical order. The story centers on an unseen figure, Dorum Clary, which is kind of one of those names that when you get a template for Word, it does that. What is the template text? Dorum ipsum, whatever it is. I think they use. Hold on, I'll tell you here in a minute what the real template data is that they put in it. So
that's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to say it looked like an anagram or something, because it does to me.
It's the lorem. What is the default text that they put in? Lorem, whatever. Oh, God. Why is it so damn hard to find something that I hear every freaking day? But there's this default text that is like Latin-esque gibberish.
Lorem ipsum?
Yeah. And it's a big long paragraph that you basically have as part of a template. And so this is Dorum Clary, an unremarkable employee at a kitchen appliance factory in the fictitious German town of Gutenkirchenberg.
Something about the kitchen, it looks like.
I don't even know. A good something town. So who has found, I don't know what Kirchen, I think that might be kitchen. Yeah. So it's good kitchen town. Right?
Oh, no, it's church.
Oh, church.
I'm sorry, I thought it was kitchen because it looked like it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and it's what they refer to as a barbaric language, so it doesn't actually follow like naming convention that you would normally suspect. By the way, there is a Kirchen in Germany, not Kirchenberg and not Gutenkirchenberg. But anyway, it's Getten. It's not even Guten. It's not even good. Anyway, um, they're found dead in circumstances that, whether due to foul play or AI storytelling error, never entirely makes sense. So it emerges that he had been working on an enigmatic project named only the Machine, itself a symbol of AI development and perhaps in some way responsible for his death. This sounds like an actual compelling story that I would love to watch. So I'm going to wait for this to actually hit the scene, so that I can watch it. I think this is actually pretty amazing.
I mean, it'd at least be something out of the ordinary, and it might get the creative juices flowing about AI. And it seems like it's one of these that has layers of, and again, kind of back to the reality hacker theme.
Yeah.
Like, what are we watching? What are we seeing? What's actually real here?
Yep. Trust but verify. Do your due diligence, critical thinking, situational awareness, etc. Yeah. But I dig this. I really like this idea. And once again, my background music has died because, yeah, network attached storage, let me tell you. Anyway, let's move on. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so this next article is over on the Continuity Report. It's half a movie, but Wicked casts a mighty spell. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande bring Elphaba and Glinda from stage to screen, and the result is Over the Rainbow. So the article is over at the Washington Post. Ty Burr. Did I say who wrote the last one? Hold on, let me back up. Yeah, Guy Lodge. Okay. Well, Ty Burr put this article together for the Washington Post. And it says, heads up, number one in the now accepted Hollywood fashion, Wicked turns out to be Wicked Part 1. 2 hours and 40 minutes of movie that only gets you to the end of the hit Broadway musical acts Part 1.
See, I didn't know that, nor did I understand the headline. I didn't realize this was like a Dune.
Yeah, so I had heard that this is actually the case. I haven't seen Wicked yet. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters or if I'll wait until it hits Apple TV. Who knows? But heads up number 2, the flying monkeys are even more terrifying in CGI. This is not a movie for very young children. Those caveats aside, the film version of the stage version of Gregory Maguire's literary inversion of The Wizard of Oz, technically a prequel to the 1939 MGM classic. Basically, so if you haven't, I don't know, maybe you're living under a rock, but apparently Wicked is the coming of age / formation of the hero and villain characters.
Okay, like the
The
good witch and the
formation.
wicked witch.
Yeah. And so it says here is about as good a musical adaptations get, with more lavish than most. Wicked looks like a bajillion dollars with imaginatively overripe production design. That steampunk bullet train. They're talking about stuff that's in this movie that I haven't seen yet, and I really don't want to spoil. Although, I guess I could drop, hold on a second, possible spoiler alert and overshare. Yeah. So, oh, and by the way, if you want to get all of today's articles for TCR, you can type in ! TCR, and ohmTown will take all of today's articles and throw them into the chat. We have quite a few interesting articles, particularly on the site, but I'll leave spoiler alert on here. In the center of this madly spinning circus are 2 women, Alpha. It's not Alpha. Oh, Alpha and
Elphaba,
Omega.
I think.
Yeah. But
Oh,
they're
okay.
saying
Got it.
Alpha and Omega, green and blonde, kind and shunned versus self-absorbed and popular. They sing the song popular. I can't hit that. Anyway, so after a prologue showing how young Elphaba, the future Wicked Witch of the West, was ostracized by her father for being the product of her mother's affair with a nameless, so far, cad, John M. Chu's movie whisks us ahead several years to the arrival of now grown Elphaba at Shiz Academy. accompanying her wheelchair using younger sister Nessa Rose. And you know what? I don't want to go through the rest of this. If you want to um, go through the rest of this article, feel free. But the reason why I chose this was because I wanted to kind of make it known that this is half the actual play.
Well, absolutely. Like, I don't think that's being advertised. And this movie is getting a lot of buzz, but I think, or even just the run up to it, but I think this is something you can't just spring on people. Yes, I know there's such a thing as a cliffhanger, but that's a little different in a TV show.
Yeah, I agree. And so you're going to have to wait until the second part is released at some point. I don't know even if they've done both recordings at the same time.
I don't either, but I'm guessing no earlier than 2026
Yeah, because they're going
based
to
on
ride this
recent,
wave, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Because if they constrain it, then people will be chomping at the bit to get that other part. And who knows what the where the production lies in the second half. I don't
right.
know. Okay, well, let's keep moving. I think that this is a fun show, but you can pull the show notes and go to this article and read the rest if you are so inclined. The next article is over in Technology Today. The NBA will air a Christmas Day game with Disney characters.
So, like, is this the real game, but then they're substituting the characters, or is this like a fun game on top of the real thing?
I don't know if it's going to be live action or if there's going to be animated Disney characters superimposed into the game. So if you can't get your kids to sit through one of the 5 NBA games aired during Christmas Day, tune into Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, or ESPN2 for a special Disney-fied version. And I think that it's going to be graphically introduced. Like maybe they're doing the like 3D models in the court walking around or like playing the game or standing on the sidelines or whatever else.
Right. It sounds like they're kind of superimposing them because it sounds like this is an actual match.
Yeah, so it's part of the Dunk the Halls broadcast of the San Antonio Spurs versus the New York Knicks featuring animated Disney characters. So maybe they got a picture of what's going to actually happen. Danny Gallagher over at Engadget.com put the article together. And it looks like maybe like between plays and maybe integrated into the plays, they're going to have these characters talking about the game.
Okay,
It
I think we had an article maybe a year ago or so where they're trying to kind of get kids
kids,
into televised sports.
yeah.
It wasn't about this broadcast specifically, but okay.
I think it was football last year, and now it's NBA. So it says the game will feature appearances from classic Disney characters like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, Goofy and Donald and Daisy Duck, as well as Santa and his elves from the animated Disney short Prep and Landing. And it says that this will be the first time that the NBA has arranged to air a game with animated characters and graphic overlays. Yeah, they talk about it right there. So, signature cartoons that they actually used on December 9th, featuring Bengals Cowboys game, virtual characters and scenes from Simpsons. ESPN3's Full Court Press broadcasts use technology designed by Second Spectrum to create augmented graphics that track players' movements and provide real-time updates. So this is part of ESPN3.
Okay, yeah, the last one sounds really good for true sports fans because then they can get all the stats and everything.
Yeah.
But the other ones sound like it's just trying to draw other viewers in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like it's weird. Like, I don't know. If you
I
make
think
it
it's kind of
fun,
fun as a novelty. Like if this is a regular thing, I think that's a little strange, but if they do this around a holiday or something so the family can watch or okay. I mean, that's something different.
but it's one of those things, you know what? This is like a judgment call about how you're raising your kids. And I'm more along the lines of if your kid isn't interested, then your kid isn't interested. But this is the kind of thing where you're like, well, I want my kid to eat bread. So I put cinnamon sugar on the bread so that they eat the bread. But you know that they're getting cinnamon and sugar.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends. Like if the kid wants to watch it, or if this allows the whole family to watch it and everybody's happy.
until a brawl breaks out. And then,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say or until somebody starts punching the referee or something,
yeah.
I mean, at least this isn't a hockey game, right?
Hey, yeah, I went to a hockey game and ice skating broke out. Or how does it? Wait. The real thing is, I went to a fist fight and a hockey game broke out. That's what it is.
Right, right.
Anyway, let's move on. Next article is over in the continuity report as well. 10 coolest sound effects in sci-fi movies. Sound design is often an underrated aspect of production design, particularly when it comes to science fiction movies. All of the best science fiction movies stimulate their audience beyond simple visuals with philosophically charged dialogue and thrilling original scores, all contributing to a memorable film in the genre. So, this article over at screenrant.com by Alexander Valentino puts the article together, and it says here that there are a lot of different opportunities for Foley work. The sentient AI has had to detach for a moment from the air gap network. Okay, I'll have to continue on. So, this first article, it says the 5 tones, close encounters of the third kind. I swear I've picked this up in other shows, but I can't remember all of the shows that I seemingly have heard this in. But yeah, the dun 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 dun. That is from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and it says here the humans establish friendly contact with the aliens of Close Encounters of the Third Kind by discovering the foundations of their sort of musical language, as deciphered by the starting 5 tones of D, E, C, another C, 1 octave lower, and finally G. Both the human-made devices and the ethereally beautiful glowing spaceships passing these tones back and forth between one another makes for a breathtaking soundscape. This is actually pretty amazing. So the tones are beautifully interpreted into John Williams' score, simply titled "The 5 Tones," laying the foundation for friendly intergalactic relations.
Is
And
this one of these that people will hear and they go, "Oh, this is from this movie"?
oh, for sure, yeah. When you hear the dun 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 dun, you know that it's from Close Encounters. And what's interesting about it is that they have already abducted a bunch of people and they trade off new people for the ones that have been taken in the past, seemingly probed.
This sounds like this could be pretty creepy when you hear the music then.
Yeah, but it's not creepy. It's actually kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of enthralling because humans have interacted with these aliens in different ways, apparently, and somehow set up a meeting. I don't even remember that part of it, but the ship actually lands inside this like bowl like clearing, and inside there is a military compound that has been constructed so that they could have this interaction. And the third kind is direct contact. Um, so yeah. Then the world engines in Man of Steel. As far as alien technology goes, it's hard to find a sound more emotionally opposite than the 5 tones than the Man of Steel's world engines, the first film that began the short-lived DCEU or cinematic universe of, uh, yeah, I'd call it DC is the comics. So MCU is anyway, expanded universe is the DCEU. Anyway, never really got into anything DC, so I actually haven't seen this. The world engine operates on a horrific scale of building anticipation and release with a pulpy, bassy sound that signals the next onslaught of increased gravitational power. Behind the helm of these doomsday machines, sound profile is none other than musical genius Hans Zimmer, who orchestrates an awe-inspiring symphony of destruction with them. Dum, dum, dum,
I mean,
dum.
this almost seems like it's worth looking up the sound effect just to kind of sense because it's making it sound very
Doom and gloom, and
immersive and doom and gloom. Yeah.
foreboding and just
Mm-hmm.
impending and just overwhelming. Yeah, we'll have to look them up, but obvious. Well, we air gap a lot of stuff, so I'm not going to play it here. So Neo wakes up from the Matrix, and it says facilitated by a horrific metal slime that slowly envelops his body. The camera dives into Mr. Anderson's throat as he screams, and it's this trilling kind of sound as you get pulled out of the Matrix. And They refer to it as his whale slowly digitizing into a chiptune whale, and I cannot do it justice by description. This slow descent into reverse digitalization is a brief but incredibly memorable sequence that ominously guards the incomprehensible terror of waking up in a pod bath plugged into the Matrix. It says it's a shame future films in the franchise didn't recreate this iconic glitchy scream when unplugging new humans.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't stick with that.
Yeah, it's a really neat sound effect. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch all of the Matrix movies. Although I think the last one was pretty stupid, but whatever. One of the things that I've always loved of the Aliens movies is the M41A pulse rifle sound. It is amazing sounding and definitely sci-fi and the most analog sci-fi sound that you can probably make. It's just amazing. It says with brilliant flare of muzzle flash, the M41 discharges a distinct bark of a gunshot, somehow sounding like a real life gun mixed with a sort of digital texture that gives it a futuristic feeling. Again, I cannot do it justice. You'll have to go to YouTube and pull up something from Aliens. If not Alien, go watch Aliens.
Right.
Um,
I hope some of the sound engineers or composers, depending on whether it's music or sound effects, won awards for some of these because it sounds like they're so um, integral to the movies. And I mean, I can imagine in some of these scenes that if the sound effects were done incorrectly, it would have had a completely different effect on the audience.
yeah, the I wanted to. I would like to be able to describe it, but I can't. But there are some weapons when you hear them fire, um, it's very memorable. Like there is a pop clink sound with a certain pistol. There's the typical sound of an AK-47, and then there is this that just embodies that analog part with a hard candy coating of sci-fi, and I absolutely love this. What's really neat about it is that it also has that little digital scale on it, telling you how many rounds you have left in the clip that or magazine. Yeah, that people get really irritated when you use the wrong terminology when you're a gearhead. I guess I'll just call it a gunhead. I don't know what you want to call a person that's really into weapons, but anyway, there you go. Firearms. There you go. So then there's the Sardaukar chant from Dune. I don't think you ever hear it in any of the other Dune. I want to call them all knockoffs of this. This newest version of Dune from Denis Villeneuve, Dune Part One and Part Two, says have quickly embedded themselves into pop culture. I absolutely love this show, and
Well, the movie, not the show.
movie. Yeah, plural. There's two of them. And so I would say, you can have your own opinion about it. You're wrong, unless you like it. But just the size, the scope, the embiggeness of this, the verticality of this is just so amazing. And you get a really nice sound system for this, and you just get enveloped in it. And this has become basically so well known on the internet that you do a search for YouTube or on YouTube for Sardaukar chant, and there is a 10-hour version of it so that you can go to sleep to it.
Oh, wow. Well, I think it's so well known that if you heard it like one of the other ones, you would instantly know it's from Dune.
And it's kind of a merging of like Latin, And they say here ritualistically prepare themselves for battle. It's like a ritualistic chant. Um, they say almost religious figure chant. I would say that they are a religious figure that's chanting a steady drone of throat singing. And if you've never heard of this, there's like Tibetan throat singing and other throat singing where you actually have multiple notes being sung. I won't do it. I have tried, and I learned a little bit of how to do it, but I can't sustain it long enough, and I get a scratchy throat. I only have one article after this one, so I don't know. Maybe I'll.
You anticipated my question.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So I absolutely love it. It says it's not an. They say here this almost religious figure chants a steady drone of throat singing in the unique Sardaukar language, not actually an established conlang, which is a constructed language. That's what conlang means, like Klingon or High Valerian, but simply English modified heavily by the sound effects team. But it sounds very Latin-esque. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I absolutely love this, and I really wish that they do create a Sardaukar language.
By the way, I didn't actually know this was English. I mean, I can think of what the sound is, but
Yeah,
it doesn't come across that way.
it to me it comes across as Latin, but I don't know what it really is. But th- now I'm gonna have to go dig because I never really looked into it. And then number 5 on this list is the Predator's clicks. I won't be able to go through all 10 of these, but I am absolutely. The clicks are really awesome, and you have to hear them. Again, it's one of these things where you have to hear them. And go and check out the Predator. And then they talk about the bear creature's roar and annihilation. This is probably a composite of a whole bunch of sounds all merged in together. Changing in appearance and roaring in a distorted voice that mimics Cass screaming, "Help me." Beyond how immediately terrifying this is, the sound of Cass's voice superimposed over the bear's normal roars is oddly satisfying to listen to, making for a spine-chilling sound. Annihilation is a wild movie. You really do have to see it if you're into sci-fi. But I just I can't go through all of these. Transformers transforming is. Go ahead.
You know what? I was going to say that's just spot on because its sound is pretty simple, but it is unique to Transformers.
Yeah, that little. And depending on the transformer, it's a little bit different. And when they're all merged together, it just really is the embodiment of metal transforming. I absolutely love it. And it's always been that way since I was a kid. The original Transformers cartoons had that style of sound. The movies have mechanized it and raised the fidelity and the gamut of the sounds, individual sounds, and I absolutely love it. Godzilla's roar, and then the seismic charges from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, this kind of whoomp sound as it,
Oh, okay. I couldn't think of what sound that was.
and then when it goes whoomp, and then it makes this buzzing sound as it radiates out. It's just spectacular. The only problem is, well, not all of the Star Wars episodes are the same, and the bad ones taint. You know the phrase, one bad apple.
Spoils the bunch.
Yeah, they always leave off that part, right? And so that's kind of how this is. But I love certain episodes more than others. And unlike the I am fully able to stack one above the other in a hierarchy that says this one is number one. Don't ask me which one is number one. I wouldn't be able to right now. I have to go back and watch them all over again. But the original 3 are awesome. Right about the time Jar Jar Binks is introduced is when I want to just do a little taint kick. Anyway, let's move on. How about that? Sound good?
Sounds good. And I'll insert some controversy.
In the next one?
No, the more modern filmed Star Wars are better than some of the original filmed ones, which I know is just complete blasphemy to Star Wars fans.
How do I delete a
It's
sentient
because of
AI?
the film quality. It's not
Oh,
because they're necessarily, better stories, etc.
I would agree because in with modern TVs, they've basically highlighted the old original versions about the production value being kind of weak sauce in the compositing and stuff like that. But
The stories are definitely better though in the originally filmed ones.
yeah, I would say that too. Um, because they're not retconning anything. It is the original body of work. And then the rest is let's try and make this. Plus, Jar Jar Binks is a dipshit. Let's move on. The next article is over in the continuity report. This is the last article for today's continuity report and all of the shows for Saturday. Um, and honestly, I really want to make continuity report an hour-long show because we're already at 36 minutes. But and I have to truncate stuff that I want to talk about. So I don't know. Anyway, how quirky female crime solvers took over TV. And they talk about the series such as Matlock, Elsbeth, High Potential, and Poker Face showcase a new detective archetype. We just watched Murder and Other
Death and Other Details?
Death and Other Details. Thank you. And in that was, you want to say a male protagonist, but really it was centered around a female protagonist who was reluctantly coaxed into becoming a crime
Like,
solver.
yeah, she was like an amateur detective, I would call her.
And the counterpart was a female antagonist. Yeah.
Yes, we might want the spoiler alert up there.
Oh, but you don't know because there's so many moving parts in this thing. So Death and Other Details has been around for a little while anyway. So, okay. Hold on a second.
It's rare to have a spoiler alert on a non-article.
So let's go over to the article. So it's over at the Washington Post. Laura Bradley put the article together, and they're talking about five, at least I think five, or just how quirky female crime solvers took over the TV. So it says that they're no longer helpless damsels, sexualized minxes, or traumatized vigilantes. Instead, these offbeat, often neurodivergent coded female sleuths are a timely elaboration on a long evolving tradition. But they haven't.
Is that that's the entire article.
Yeah. So, but hold on a second. Let me turn off the spoiler because we're not really spoiling anything at this point. But they talk about the recent female lead. I don't know if there's anything else down here at the bottom, but so they say, better yet, they further expand on how TV's female detectives can look and act. But it's not that they're no longer helpless, blah, 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 blah. There have been quirky female crime solvers since the 70s. Murder, She Wrote was entirely written, and
I agree. But that was the exception, not the norm.
oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. What they don't mention the police procedural, right? These recent female-led crime procedurals. Who was the other one? The one in Ireland, I think it was, or Scotland?
Oh, right, Vera
Vera.
in England.
Oh, was it
Yeah,
England?
she
Okay.
would be spot on for this article.
Yeah, and there's been others, and even in Slow House. Uh, what what's the name of that show too? I just forgot it. My God.
Slow,
Slow
slow
Horses,
horses. I keep trying to say slow house and slow
because
horses at the same time. Yeah.
it's Slow House. Even in Slow Horses, one of the antagonists, protagonists, whatever, she's like an anti-hero. It is part of the actual machinery of this, and there are several people that are in it, right? Female.
Hmm.
that are in it that are fundamental to the story. And none of them are helpless damsels, sexualized minxes, or traumatized vigilantes. Their screw ups end up being, neurodivergent coded females that are relegated to this slough house, which is for
Right.
agents that need to ring the bell to leave.
Well, even only Murders in the Building, which doesn't have one main character, first of all, has quirky characters, and one of them is a strong
Happens to be
female character.
a strong female character. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In
And
fact,
probably
stronger than the male
the males.
protagonist, right?
Yeah,
Arguably.
yeah. So, I mean, we really need, as a society, to move past this ideology that there is a separation of the sexes because it is propelled into existence by the institution of society. And you can actually see that kind of thing, particularly in sci-fi, where everybody is treated as equal. And when they're not, the ones that have an interest in basically demanding equality and equity, they step up to the plate. And in like the Klingons and Romulans and Vulcans and these other species outside of the U.S., just U.S. outside of humans, they're highlighting the point that there is greater equality. The only one that doesn't really highlight equality is the dudes with the big ears. I forgot what they're called now. Damn it. Oh man, they're all about business. Anyway, you don't see any females. But it's basically to amplify the idea that there is this disparity in the genders or sexes in humans in humanity. But I don't know. I think that we need to move past it. But wow, things are going to get
Well,
interesting.
yeah, and I think some of these shows, first of all, a lot of detective type shows do feature quirky leads, although historically in this genre, there's probably been more male leads than female. But this is an interesting trend.
Yeah, and I'm here for it because I dig it no matter what. I am here for the procedural, fun storytelling, world building. The character actually makes a difference, and I need to be able to relate in some way. And so, as long as that is taking place, to me, I
Yeah, you're right. If the story's good and the characters, they can be flawed, but they have to be likable, even
to
if
some degree,
they're not necessarily acting favorably, right? But they
yeah,
still
yeah,
have to be likable because they can have villains that are likable on as a character.
yeah,
And I think that doesn't matter. So, and I think as they get more females into director and producer positions, we'll continue to see this trend.
yeah,
Historically, they haven't been.
yeah. I dig this. The only thing about this article is that they have marginalized the this story by basically truncating it right there.
It
There's
almost
so
seemed
much
like it was
deeper.
going to have a slideshow or something to then feature because it reminds me of some of our other entertainment news sources. So I thought there was going to be more to it, but I agree. Although maybe this particular section or something is just supposed to be quick
Like a little
takes or
snippet or
something.
something like that.
But I
Yeah.
agree.
I don't know. This just it's dying for a deeper dive into the characters and what they kind of represent to the genre, how they pivot away from the standard fare of male led.
Right. So, assignment for our viewers, if you're into the mystery genre, try a series that you haven't watched with a quirky female lead.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty out there. So not as many as you want, but like I said, I'm here for it. Well, anyway,
But the viewership then impacts whether that happens again, too.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know what really needs to take place? Not just viewership, but like a wanted list where shows that are proposed or shows that might kick off or whatever, or are new, they're actually like favorited, kind of like how Steam has
Oh,
early
right, like with
access.
games. That would
Yeah,
be really interesting.
I wonder
The
if
closest
that's
thing I can think of, I don't know of anything like official, like from Hollywood or something, but I know there are certain things that track, for example, what shows are coming up, etc. And you can track those. So those sites, for example, may
yeah,
get some stats, but they're not necessarily making it to the people that are making the decisions in the
yeah.
industry.
Like IMDb is probably the closest, but that's owned by Prime now, so Amazon owns that. So you know that that isn't going to be well. I don't know. They highlight and they post everybody. It's a weird. That's a weird connection. Anyway, that's it. We're going to change the channel, so to speak, and end up back at the continuity report at ohmTown.com, where you should join us. Become a citizen. You can like and subscribe to various channels and ignore articles, save articles. You can send us lists. That's a different feature that's embedded in the site. And you can check out all of the news without any of the noise because Mayor Watt is the noisy one, along with the sentient AI that's going to say bye. We're done
Good,
for the night.
good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for the continuity report. We'll have another episode for you next week. Don't forget to also download the podcast and watch for replays that we have running in between live shows.
That's true. So see you soon. Bye bye.